here, back to Hero Square. We're talking about 3.5 kilometers, something like that. It's a couple of miles. Maybe not. She's going to run out of road, Sonia.
She may run out of road to catch up to the leader, but Yehuda actually looks quite worried looking over her shoulder. So it'd be interesting to see the gap back to Salpeter, and if there's a chance that Yehuda would be passed for the bronze medal.
Well, this is a fabulous effort from Gebrselassie to retain her title from the streets of Eugene 12 months ago, or 13 months ago in fact. Yehuda in third place, a nervous glance over her shoulder there, because I think she is actually worried about the Moroccan Gardadi. Gardadi having a fantastic run. She's in fourth place. She was 5 seconds ahead of Salpeter, and here is Gardadi now. And she may yet get a medal. If she is closing down, I don't know if she's going much faster than the athlete in third, Gebrselassie. Just looking, in fact, Gebrselassie at the last clocking was going slightly quicker. I think Gebrselassie ran at 3:17 for her last kilometre, Gardadi at 3:22. But she has got a target, the Moroccan. It's been a fantastic closing few kilometres from this little Moroccan. She's moving so well. Back onto the Buda side of the city. And just checking the 31-year-old. She has only run 2 marathons. She's a relative novice. Back to the leader here, Shankule, who's in the shade, well, some of the time, on Andrassy Avenue for the final time. No change of that expression. She's suffering, there's no doubt about it. It has been a hammer blow, punch in the face, so to speak, of her compatriots that she's delivered since that attack on the bridge heading west about 15 minutes ago. They've negotiated the Buda loop. Now she's back in Pest. The crowds have grown all the time. They're big here in Budapest. It's a fabulous day for marathon racing from the crowd perspective. Maybe not for the athletes. It's 29 degrees centigrade in Budapest. And Sonia, we may see some significant changes in tempo as the heat gets to people.
Absolutely. There's 10 minutes. There's 10 minutes of running left, and Shankula, she looks a little bit. If you look at the turnover of their legs when we get the wide picture out, it actually looks like Gebrselassie may be moving better now, and Gardadi is also coming up from behind. So there's still, this race may not be decided yet.
Well, the 39-kilometre split, 2:13.28. There is Gebrselassie, the champion 13 months ago in the USA, in the Pacific Northwest, in again warm, difficult conditions. It was very, very warm in Eugene through July 2022. It's been, if anything, even warmer through July 2023. They've had temperatures up in the mid-30s centigrade for the last few weeks. But Shankule, checking her watch, there's all 3 of them. Of course, different degrees of focus. Shankule goes through, and her lead, 23 seconds at 39 kilometres. That's a pretty substantial cushion. Only 6 seconds at 23 kilometres between Gebrselassie and Yehuda, although that has opened up fairly quickly. Yehuda, I think, of the 3, is suffering the worst. She had to give ground and see her compatriot move past her into second place. But she's taken on liquids in massive quantities. Yehuda, funnily enough, Sonia, was the first to really accelerate on the outward journey on this final lap, wasn't she, and break up the pack?
For a long time, she looked the most comfortable, but we're at a point, there's a point in the race comes that you can't plan for in conditions like this, and I think this is what's affecting the athletes right now, as Yehuda continues to look over her shoulder. Gardadi looks like she's running at a pretty steady tempo here, but we haven't quite got the gap. I mean, at 39k, she was 1 minute behind, 31 seconds behind Yehuda. So that's, well over 100 meters. But she has her in her sights and looks to be closing, as all those lights are green.
Well, the leader is slowing. Shankule, his last 2 kilometres, 3:17 and 3:22 after a series of 3:12s and even down to a 3:11 in the 38th kilometre. She did the damage. I think maybe that's what we have to say, as she really worked hard, dug in so deep to get that gap and destroy her compatriots behind her, but she is suffering herself. The only thing is they're suffering as well. 2:16.50 at 40k. That was a 16:08 clocking, identical to the 5k that led up to 35k. So their last three 5k splits, 16:36, 16:08 and 16:08. Gebrselassie now 20 seconds behind at 40k. Actually just looking, it's 24 seconds.
And Yahula is still pushing on here. She's getting the company of one of her Ethiopian teammates on the outside the barrier there, helping her along, but he's going to drop off now as well. It's interesting to see all these people running alongside, and I'm sure this is encouraging for the athletes to have company out there in these final kilometers.
Well, here is Yahualo in third place. She is suffering. Shankule moving better. Just maybe the adrenaline is beginning to flow now. She's on the dead straight section of Andrassy Avenue. The crowd's roaring her on. She will be well aware. She's had a couple of glances over her shoulder. She will be well aware of that gap behind her being a pretty safe cushion. At 40k, it was 24 seconds back to the 2022 world champion Gotitom Gebrselassie. Yahualo a further 19 seconds back. She is suffering. Gardadi, though, at 40k was 20 seconds behind Yahualo. So it may be that the gaps now will not change. I think there'll have to be a dramatic slowing or else a very, very impressive acceleration for the medal positions to change. It could end up being a 1-2-3 for Ethiopia. And I'm trying to think if that's been achieved before at a World Championship. I don't think it has, Sonia. We're all rushing for our stats pages.
I don't think in the women's race it has, but I'm sure someone will let us know soon if it has. But the gaps, I mean, they're definitely closing between Gardadi and Yahula. And I think, it definitely will have to be a dramatic slowdown and a steady pace by Gardadi for her to be able to catch up to Yahula at this stage. To gain 20 seconds over 2 kilometres is a huge task.
Well, let's take a look at this, and the gap is closing dramatically between Yahualo and Gardadi. The Moroccan surging here. Yahualo, look at this, flailing arms. She's gone. She's gone. She is going to be passed, and Morocco are going to move into third place to the figure of Gardadi. Incredible running there from the little Moroccan. Wow. Fatima Ezara Gardadi moves into third place. The dream for Ethiopia of 1-2-3 dissipates almost within sight of the finish in Heroes Square. And Yahualo, well, she looks over. There were flailing arms a minute or two ago. I thought she was going to collapse or stop. She's jogging on there, right a picture. But she has run herself into the ground. The surge that, ironically, was at about this point heading out in the other direction on Andrassy Avenue that broke up the field, has broken her. And Salpeta, you can see top of picture, is moving into fourth place. She's going to pass Yahualo any second, and then there will still be a battle for bronze. You can see the champion to be surely in the foreground. Amane Barise Shankule will retain gold by the looks of things for Ethiopia. Barring disaster, this has been a quite brilliant closing 8 kilometres or so from her. Checks her watch again. Just don't know why she's checking her watch all the time. That misting spray that they're running through doesn't really look like it's doing much good. They're far too high in the sky, and the mist is actually landing back on the pavement behind the railings, I think. Looks great. Gebrselassie in second place has a target, but she's going to run out of road, and I'm not sure she's closing anyway, Sonia.
Yeah, I think Shankula, she's got a large enough lead at this stage. She can see the heroes square ahead of her, and Gardadi now has her eyes focused on Gebrselassie. But, you know, when she passed Yahula, these are the scenes that we're going to see later in this race, I think, when athletes, they just totally run out of energy, and it's something that they can't control because the conditions just take such an effect on them at this late stage in the race. And Gardady, now she's still looking at her watch, and I'm not sure if she may be, she's too far to catch up to silver, but she's eyeing the finish line as well and working hard, and even right now Shankula is feeling it, and she's concentrating. I think the work she put in early has got her to this point, but now it's survival mode to just get to that finish line and maintain her lead.
Well, the lead is 24 seconds between the leader Shankula and her compatriot, the 2022 champion Gebrselassie. There's a huge gap back to Gardady of Morocco, who is in third place, looks to have secured third for herself. Here is the form of Gebrselassie. The adrenaline pumping through all their veins. That's why they're bouncing a little bit better. They know they've got one hand on a medal, each of them. Shankula, the arms beginning to flail a little bit from side to side, but what a glorious sight for her. A slight right hand lean there before heading onto the orange carpet of Heroes Square. 300 metres to run then for Shankula to retain gold for Ethiopia, the greatest race of her life by a massive margin, and she leads by a big margin too. The gap at 42 kilometres, some 24 seconds as she negotiates this long sweeping left-hand turn. The crowds roar her on, the banners held aloft. One final little check over her shoulder. She cannot believe she's going to be crowned world champion in a few seconds' time. And considering how quickly they've run through this second half, she's in fabulous shape. The first half was slow. The second half has been lightning quick, considering the temperature has climbed now to something very close to 30 degrees centigrade. Ethiopia will retain gold in the women's marathon in Budapest 2023. Sebastian Coe to the left there, holding the finish banner for this marvellous Ethiopian athlete. She is world champion. Shankula of Ethiopia. Amane Barise Shankula, the third quickest athlete in time, in all time, is the fastest in the world this year in Budapest. And there a silver medal for last year's champion, Gebrselassie. A stout defence of her title, just fell one place short. And Gardady of Morocco, who could have predicted this? If you had tried to get odds on this, you would have made so much money this morning. But it's not about money, it's about medals. These are forever, these medals. And this from Fatima Ezara Gardady at the age of 31 in only her third marathon. And it's going to be, fun enough, almost identical to her two so far. 2:25.03, 2:25.07, and unofficially 2:25.17 in Budapest. Miraculous running from Gardady, and boy did she finish fast, Sonia O'Sullivan.
She finished strong, and she looks like she absolutely cannot believe it. And here is Lorna Salpeter managed to also overtake Yahula on the way in. And these athletes, they look like this has been really hard work this last bit. When they hit the carpet, it looked like, they felt like we're home, but they all look like they had to concentrate so much to get around there without falling down. And even Yahula, as she's coming in here now in 5th place, she looks like she's really struggling just to stay on her feet and get to the finish line. And this is like I'm sure they're just feeling these jelly legs, that they just can't control it anymore, and it's just a concentration to get across the finish line and relieved to be home.
Yeah, Yahula has been a great champion in her time, a fabulous racer, but undone by the temperatures here today. Just makes it across the line. Yalamzaf Yahula, the London champion from last year. All three of her marathons prior to today have been under 2:20 by the 24-year-old. She was only 24 3 weeks back, but today something around 2:26.20 for her. And they're moving well, perhaps better than most of them through the lap.